And use his words to touch our hearts. So one more round of applause coming to the stage right now. This is Blaq Ice. Blaq Ice. Please round of applause for Blaq Ice.
All right.
Peace and love, family. How y'all doing tonight? I said peace and love, family. How y'all doing tonight? Let me hear everybody say all right.
All right.
Let me talk about where I come from. Chicago. Chicago.
Yeah.
Almost 800 murders last year. Do your math, that's more than double the days there are in a year. Mothers fear their babies not making it home from school. Unemployed brothers ain't got time to look for a job, but got time to be on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, acting a fool. And these gangs out here ain't following no rules. They ain't got no structure, but they knew exactly what they were doing when they assassinated our leaders and killed our movements. See, there's an old saying, cut off the head and the body would fall. I said, cut off the head and the body would fall. Let this be a lesson to all y'all. And I'm applauding some of these Chicago artists who boast to the world on how their lyrics be so cold. And some of them will get right on stage and talk about how God saved their soul, but won't get out here and go to none of these schools or get out here on none of these streets to even try to save just one soul. And the church, if you really dare to help save lives, then let me make a proposal. If the church you attend ain't involved in community affairs to help save lives, then stop paying your tithes. And as for the Black Lives Matter movement, you didn't think I was going to let you off the hook, did you? I believe that Black Lives Matter, but when are Black lives going to matter to black people? March in the hood like you do downtown. Shut down some of these gas stations and liquor stores that have become breeding grounds for our babies to get shot down like you do those businesses on Black Friday downtown Chicago. Home of the world champion Cubs, the Bad News Bears, and the Chicago Bulls. See, I don't think y'all understand. What's going down in Chicago has always been about land, and I recognize the hustle. But did you ever notice that as soon as they tore the projects down, the crime rate in Chicago doubled? Displaced these gang members to live where those gang members live. Let them kill one another. So what if an innocent baby gets killed? We'll go to the funeral and send flowers to the mother. In the meantime, let the land on the south side and the west side become devalued. It ain't no scholar, but in my community right now, they selling vacant land for just $1. And like the land that the projects used to stand on, they gonna build retail spaces and condos. And while you're addicted to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and your babies are addicted to nachos and cheese, little baby Chucky, so cheese. So what if you a boy, shake your booty for the camera, say cheese. Almost 800 murders last year. And we all have a responsibility to come out of the nightclub and get in these streets. Get out of the four walls of the church and get in these streets. Get off of your social media soapbox and get in these streets. See, we all like to talk the talk, and we love for our voices to be heard. But when are you going to realize that it's your actions that speaks louder than your words? That's that piece. Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of King of Poetry, Blaq Ice, spoken word artist from Chicago. I'll be touring Jamaica in about 3 weeks from now, sharing this story with the whole world about what we're dealing with in Chicago. And I have a passion for young people, because September the 3rd, 2008, I lost my 15-year-old son to a form of cancer called osteosarcoma. So can we just take one moment of silence for all those loved ones that we lost in our families and in our lives? Just one moment of silence, please. Anybody ever felt like that before?
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
I just want to tell y'all my testimony for a moment. A long way. Hey God, where you at? I've been looking for you. Seems like you've been avoiding me or something. And I've been searching for you for years with no answer, just anticipation. And I've been going through this transformation, but every time I call on you, God, it's like I get put on hold. And they say that you hear all and that you see all, but seems like you ain't never available, God, when I call. See, y'all, I remember it was January 91. I had just left Simeon High School's Martin Luther King ceremony speaking. I wasn't feeling too well that day. Little did I know that all the while, my appendix had been leaking. And where were you, God? Just when I thought nowhere to be found. And if it wasn't for my son's mother convincing me to go to St. Bernard's Hospital that night, Blaq Ice would be here with you in Countryside right now. And where were you at, God, that morning when I went to work and when I got to 123rd and Kedzie, right by the cemetery, this lady ran the lights. The last thing I saw was headlights. A 3-car collision that almost took my life. But where were you, God? And where were you at, God, when my mother was stricken with cervical cancer?
You know that African.
She's been going to church serving him since before I was born, and we both called on you, and you still didn't answer. Come on, God, this is my mother. Tell me, is this how you treat all your sons and your daughters? And where were you at, God, that day my son died? I sat there at the University of Chicago, and I watched them come back twice. You could have intervened. You could have saved his life. But where were you, God? God looked at me and he said, okay, my son, I've heard enough. Now I know that times for you have been rough, but son, where's your faith? Seems like you only seek my face when you need me, for I am a full-time God, my son. Do you really believe in me? Well, if so, then you would know that I am the creator of the universe. All that you see from the highest heights of heaven to what you have discovered beneath the earth. See, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am the God of Moses, Lot, and David. I am the one who made Solomon wise. I put Noah in the ark before the waters could rise. I gave Samson the strength to destroy the Philistines with no eyes. I am that smooth stone that David slung that smote Goliath in the head. The cracks that crumbled the walls of Jericho, the same one that rose Lazarus from the dead. I am the one who gave Moses the staff and the rod in his arm. And I gave it the power to split the Red Sea in half. Shall I go on? Please forgive me, Father. He said, no, son, I already have. But see, like Jonah, you've been running from your mission. I've been trying to reach you and speak to you for years, but your ego just wouldn't let you listen. When your appendix is spreading poison through your body, I was the voice that spake to your sons, mother warning you, and do you remember what you promised me, my son? Yes, Lord, I do. I promise you that if you allow me to make it through, then I would turn my life over to you. But what did you do? You continued to play. So I spoke to you again in the form of a 3-car collision, but I allowed you to walk away that day. And have you ever asked yourself the question why the accident was by a gravesite? I was showing you that the road that you were traveling on ended at the cemetery if you didn't change your life. But you still didn't listen. And as for your mother's cervical cancer, I am the reason why your mother's cancer is in remission. And I know your son's gone. But his body was sick, so I relieved him of his pain and I called him home. And yet and still I stayed by your side. All those moments that you felt alone, yet you still rejected my truth. If you only could have put your ego to the side and listened to all those whom I sent to you. Lord, you mean to tell me all the while I was waiting to hear from you? You were sending me messages through all those whom I rejected? Yes, my son, this is true. And instead of focusing on the guides, submit to the truth that you find inside. For Satan is the one who subtracts and divides, but my God is the one who adds and multiplies. I'm telling y'all, he opened my eyes. So to those of you who can't accept the truth, because your ego won't allow you to accept who the truth is coming through, take this as a lesson. Because see, God just ain't using these pastors today, because asking some of these pastors questions is just like asking blind men for directions. But it's the truth that counts. And in this case, my ego just wasn't my ego, but my ego was easing God out. A long way. A long way. From home. That's that piece, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce 16-year-old classical opera sensation, Symphony.
Thank you.
One more round of applause for Miss Symphony. Fantastic, fantastic.